I remember one specific memory that was not pleasant. I found this, I was young. I may have been 5 or 6. I was old enough to remember, but young enough to just not really paying attention. And I found a really nice, maybe a 2-inch wide sand dollar on the beach. And it was it had not broken. Matter of fact, it was still a little green, so it hadn't weathered yet. And so I had it in my hand, and I was just amazed. I was so proud of it. Well, we stopped at Hazel's, and we got some stuff to eat. I got a cold drink and some French fries. So I'm eating French fries, and I made a mistake, and I took a bite out of my sand dollar. Well, I mean, I got a mouthful of sand, and I'm so upset because I destroyed my sand dollar. That's one of my memories of just, oh, wow, and spitting all over the place. And at that time, we were going over the old drawbridge, and the drawbridge is not existent today, but it's about, maybe a half mile back to the east of the existing bridge. And it was just, I can remember going over that bridge and stopping at a little store, Kennedy's grocery store, which is on the north side, going in there and getting something to wash my mouth out with. So it's amazing how things like that stick in your mind. But that one, I still, every now and then I want to spit out sand. Yeah, growing up in Foley and in high school, what I remember about Foley High School as much as anything else, a guy named Ivan Jones. Ivan Jones was a football coach and just a molder of men. I didn't play football. I was on the team. I'm more of a cross-country runner type, and we didn't have cross-country at Foley at that time. But I learned so much from him and his determination and his focus. And between Ivan Jones and my father, they were both men that you didn't give them excuses. They didn't accept excuses. They expected you to perform at your optimum level and don't whine. And I don't want to hear about it. Do it. You can do it. And so the football team in Foley at that time, Kenny Stabler, I was not on the team with Kenny, but Kenny had been playing there. A guy named Lester Smith was the quarterback and eventually became the principal. That they were winners. And at that point in time, Foley High School, everybody from Orange Beach, Gulf Shores, and Foley, and Magnolia Springs, and Alberta, everybody went to Foley. So you had this combination of skills that you don't have when you, like in Gulf Shores High School or Orange Beach School or Foley, we're all split up now. So we don't have that common, but I remember that and I saw what we could do when we were all together. It goes back to that example about collectively what we can do. Collectively, Foley was basically unbeatable because you had everybody from all of our area working together. I was mayor at the time, and we took a trip, took all of our main staff, and so our council folks went to Destin, Florida. And we were going through Sandestin and looking at what they've done and trying to get ideas of how we could move forward and get better. When almost 10 years ago today, the well blew up and the men died. And the oil was gushing and it wasn't stopped. And I left with our city administrator at the time. We came home just simply because didn't know what all that meant. Didn't have any idea, but that was in April. And then we had the Hangout Music Festival, the very first one in May. And we had to berm up the edges of the beach to make sure no oil or nothing. There was no oil on the beach at that time, but we didn't know if it was coming or not. So we had to prepare for it and do the music festival, which we did, and got through that. And then the weekend after Memorial Day, somewhere around the 1st of June, we've been watching it creep across the Gulf, and we knew it was coming, and we knew we were going to get hit with it. And that day it hit, it was just like your beaches were covered from as far as you could see with oil. And it was just so heartbreaking and crushing because at that time, I had visions, I think we all had visions of Exxon Valdez. And that area of Alaska and that coast still closed and dead to fisheries. I'm thinking, that's our future. And everything, our whole way of life is over. And, then BP shows up and we start working with them to try to get it cleaned up and showing them our level. We've been cleaning beaches for 20 years, 30 years, and they come in with buckets and rakes and we're trying to pick it up by hand. And we knew real quickly that wasn't going to work. So we went to work showing them how we clean beaches and modifying the equipment we have to pick up oil. And doing that, we were able to get deeply involved in it and dealing with BP. But it took a while. We were able, because BP had the money and they were trying to show recovery, and we had experience because we'd done that Hangout Music Festival, and we had Jimmy Buffett's sister, Lucy at Lulu's here, telling us she thought Jimmy would come and do a benefit concert if we wanted. And so we put together with BP's funding the Jimmy Buffett from the Coast. And that day we gave away like 35,000 free tickets. But you only get a free ticket for either being a local, that we had a few allocated to the locals, or you had to rent a room at a condo or a hotel, and you had to stay 3 nights. And in doing so, we created revenue to our community that reduced the amount of claims that BP got, so BP was able to pay for it. And I was able to talk with Mike Utzler and the folks at BP and tell them, if you do this, you will get the video that you want to show of recovering coast. You'll expose us as a recovering coast, and you'll have less claims that'll pay for it. And it worked, and it worked really well. And I can remember 35,000 people. I remember standing there looking out over the crowd that day. And if you haven't seen that video, you ought to watch it. Everybody ought to watch that video. I got chill bumps that day, and I think most of the folks that were there did. I knew we were going to recover. I could tell from the people that were there, we were going to get through this because we were going to work together. Well, in reflecting on our community and where we're going and the strength and the resiliency that we have, having watched us get through and recover from storms and build back better, to get through and recover from oil spills and build back better and be stronger, I just strongly believe that it doesn't matter what this community sees. We will get through it and we'll come back better, and we will continue to be the best we can be.